Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. I want you to really think about this. The topic is now front and center. I think we really need to digest it. Think about who you are, where we're at in the nation, what is going on. Taking a look back at history. Now, let's set the table before we dig in. January 6th defendant, Ryan Nichols. He went on with Greg Kelly, and he spoke about what's going on there. Now, he called apparently from the D.C. Gitmo, the D.C. Bastille, the D.C. Gulag, the D.C. Auschwitz. Okay, I mean, Newsmax got this one, and they got Ryan Nichols on the phone. He is a Texas resident, meaning he was in D.C. on January 6th to protest his feelings, his thoughts, his conclusions, to redress the government for grievance. That's what he was there for. He is also not only a Texas resident, but he's a Marine veteran, honorably discharged, and he's facing charges that he participated in a riot. You know that riot where people walked into the Capitol building as police officers led them in, high-fived them, took pictures with them, escorted them, showed them the way? Now, what this Marine has done with this interview is talk about what's going on. He says he went through 5 jails within 50 days before finally being locked in solitary confinement. He was not allowed haircuts or shaves unless he got the cerveza bug, remedy, the Jim Jones juice. Even though not every jail, what do we want to call them, correctional officer or staff member has the Jim Jones juice. But they were denied basic hygiene, folks. They weren't allowed to cut their toenails or fingernails. They were given bologna sandwiches for 4 to 7 nights a week. The other 3 dinners were turkey sandwiches instead of bologna or peanut butter. They weren't allowed to see their attorneys, folks. That is legal representation, without being sent to quarantine for 2 weeks afterwards. And then they had to wait during that quarantine 2 weeks before they were allowed to see their attorney again. So every 2 weeks you can see your attorney because of, emergency rules. They were not allowed to video visit, much less in-person visit with families, without all of everybody having the Jim Jones juice, folks. Once again, even though not every staff member at the Gitmo Gulag, I think I'm going to call it that, the Gitmo Gulag, right? They didn't all have the Jim Jones juice. And this is just a few of the things, right? There have been reports of torture, abuse, solitary confinement, inhumane conditions, conditions and actions which are considered torture, folks, torture. Once again, this is a Marine, an honorably discharged Marine, a Texas citizen, a Texas, I'll just really use the word citizen. I hope you see the shirt I'm wearing in the color, because that is my warning on what's going on here. When will we, the people of the United States, get some answers as to what is going on? Folks, this isn't about crime. This is about, for the general public perception. And it's also a massive wake-up call to all patriotic Americans. It is a wake-up call. This is exactly what Washington, D.C. and the politicians want for all of the United States of America. This is what they want for all veterans, all patriots, and all parents, right? There is no love or respect for us, for law or liberty. Look at what is being done here. Look, I mean, just absolutely think about what's being done to you and the rest of America, and then how it's even more pronounced when applied against people they don't like, where they can get away with it in Washington, D.C. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. This is a wake-up call. This is a beta test, folks. Get prepared for more of this. Even if these prisoners in D.C. are released by some miracle, understand that this is a beta test. What is a beta test? It's to see the reaction of the people. It's to see how the media presents it, hides it. Is the media doing their job? You bet. They've hidden this away. The mainstream media has ignored this, pretended that this is an insurrection, called this a riot, a terror event, an attempt to take over the government. This is a beta test, folks, to see how Americans, people like you and me, to see how we will accept false arrest, false charges, false pretenses. And folks, in the coming worst times, you think they're going to stop? You think they'll back up? Those times are coming, folks. Those times are coming. And the government will look at us and go, remember how patriots, veterans, parents, the people of the United States of America accepted the bullshit over the January 6th arrests. They accepted the premise that this was an insurrection. So can they start trying to round up parents? Well, they've already labeled them domestic terrorists and haven't taken it back. No apologies. What if they start arresting regular Americans? We don't like what you said. We don't like your attitude. You belong to a group we don't approve of, either a political or other type of group like, militia. We don't like the amount of money you spend at sporting goods stores, the amount of times you visited a gun range and your credit card showed up. They don't like that, folks. What if they start arresting regular Americans? Giving them what? The same thing. False arrest on false charges under false pretenses. What if they start coming after you, veterans, ex-military, right? Military-minded, people who have taken an oath, oath keepers, people who aren't afraid to risk body and life in order to protect this nation. What if they start arresting us, saying you guys are a threat? You guys are committing crimes. Your mere existence equals an offense to the sovereign United States government up in D.C. Can they come and arrest you? Well, they're arresting others and holding them. Like the Green Beret, 20-year retired Army veteran who ran for Congress. He is being held. I haven't heard about him getting out. He is being held down in, I believe, Pinellas County Jail. That's in Florida. That's where the last I heard is he's being held there on these charges. What charges? Well, we'll get to that later. Maybe 6 months, 12 months. You know, you don't get legal representation. You don't, what are they going to do? What happened to speedy trial? What happened to due process? What happened to trial by a jury of our peers? I would not waive any of my rights with these fuckers. Let them throw the book. Let them try. But you'll give me a speedy trial. You want to arrest me? You got some charges? Then bring them to court. You don't need to manufacture and fabricate shit for 3 or 4 years. Look what just happened to Kyle Rittenhouse. The FBI was sitting on exculpatory information, evidence that he was being hunted by these radicals in Kenosha. There was video footage of the guy who went on the stand, who pointed a gun right at him before Kyle Rittenhouse in self-defense, right? Took out that right arm that was holding a gun pointed at him. The man lived, right? Fortunate for him, I suppose. But Kyle had to defend himself, and he's in jail. He's being charged with crimes, while the government looks at the people who are committing the crimes and ignoring those and only seeing the ones they want to see. Folks, that's exactly what's going on with the January 6th prisoners. They're political prisoners, folks, just like Kyle Rittenhouse, political prisoners. Ryan Nichols, USMC, being held, right? Denied calls, denied communion, locked up indefinitely. Prisoners are being beaten, abused, given crap for food, literally living around fecal crap. I'm going to bring this to your attention one more time. This is a beta test to see if you and me and the public will tolerate it, and we are. Why? Because we haven't gotten bad enough yet. They want to come knock on your door. They knock on your door. What are you going to do? Are you going to go quietly into a jail cell for a fucking year, 2 years, 3 years? How about a FEMA-Camp for you? How about you just disappear? If they'll go this far, will they go the rest of the way? Right? They're doing this. They're doing that. They're doing another. They're denying rights. They're ignoring the Constitution. They're taking the law into their own hands. They're making shit up as they go. They're arresting people without a crime. There is no injured party. What happens when they go off the fucking screen? Off the screen. You have been arrested. Your family doesn't know where you are. You get no legal representation. You are handcuffed, chained to a chair, blindfolded, put in a plane, landed somewhere else, marched off the plane, and you're in a FEMA camp. You don't know what state you're in, or if you're in a state at all. The prison guards act like they're gods because they know there is no constitution to protect you. They can do what they want. They can force you to work. They can torture you. They can deny you sleep. They can deny you a bed. They can deny your food. They can deny everything. They can treat you like absolute shit under whatever premise they claim that you, oh my God, you're a criminal. You're a terrorist. You're a domestic terrorist, folks. I'm not making this shit up. The FBI, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice has labeled parents, not combat veterans, not veterans, not military members, not militias, folks, not gang members. Parents have been labeled domestic terrorists by this government. You think they won't go to the next fucking step? I mean, what if they were to hit me with some nods? I go to sleep, I wake up, and I'm like, what the hell? I went to bed in my bed, and I woke up in a prison camp, off the grid, no representation legally, not being read my rights, having committed no crime. Folks, I've committed no crime. I am no criminal. I am no terrorist. I am no bad guy. I am a tax-paying American, obeying the law and all things decent. And the government could come and arrest me just as surely as they arrested these other people, just as surely, folks, as they'll arrest any parent they want now. This is a Nazi Germany history moment. Let me take you back, right? We had the Führer, Adolf Hitler, proclaim himself dictator, just dismissed their parliament, their Congress. He became dictator. And the people said, yeah, that's as far as they're going to go. They won't go any further. No, Hitler kept going and kept going and kept going, empowering his bureaucrats, empowering his Gestapo, his SS, his secret police, empowering them, folks, again and again and again, more and more and more, to the detriment of the people, to the loss of Germany. They wiped out any semblance of sanity, folks. And we went to insanity in Germany because nothing was done to stop it. How long, how much more will happen before Americans say, hey, 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 that's it? Well, we now have January 6th. It's in the tank. It's in the bag. It's almost been a fucking year since those arrests started. We're closing in on a year, folks, and people are locked up in jail. The only ones that are allowed out are those that confess to crimes that weren't really committed, that have copped a plea to get out. These are our allies, folks. This man, Ryan Nichols, is a Marine, honorably discharged, being held in prison for walking into the Capitol, for stepping on public property under permission from police. How unbelievable is this? But I am not going to storm the Bastille, folks. I'm not going to set foot on that foul dirt in DC. They start coming out here and arresting vets. You watch what happens. They come out here and start arresting parents. Watch what happens. Folks, we need to watch closely. That's not a threat. I'm saying watch what happens. Will people respond? Will local people respond? Will they go down to the local jail where people are being held, waiting for transport, if they even know and hear about it, know where to go? You see, what is the next step? Will these arrestees be taken immediately to black sites, that is, off the grid, unknown incarceration facilities where rights are denied? This is America, folks. This is not Soviet fucking Union. This is not Nazi fucking Germany. This is the United States of America, and this is happening right now. Right now, this is going on. People are being arrested right now and held without bail right now. Being denied legal representation right now, being denied quick and speedy trial right now, being denied due process right now, being held without charges right now for over 8 months, up to a year. We're going to close in on this. Right now, people are being held just like they were held back in 1770, 1773, 1776. They were held being charged falsely, star chamber bullshit proceedings in court, lies, misrepresentations, people being raped, burned out, stolen, having their property, their lives, their businesses destroyed. It is, folks, the 1770s. 1770s revisited right now. This is 1930s Germany starting up right now. This is the Soviet Union firing itself up right now. Are you awake? Are you prepared? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Because the shit's coming apart at the seams. We're being told we're going to have an energy crisis this winter. Fuel, electricity, you may or may not get it. We don't know. We're the government. Food. What about food? Well, can't guarantee anything, folks. That's the government's attitude. That's their attitude. That's not a national emergency. That has nothing to do with national security. National security is whether or not Washington, D.C. feels safe. Well, they feel threatened right now. That's their emergency. You having the pipeline feeding the entire East Coast fuel, that got shut down by hackers. That wasn't a national crisis. That was not a national security issue to the Biden administration. They're concerned about what we, the people, are doing. That wasn't the problem. But parents standing up and fighting against the corruption and harm done to their children, that makes them domestic terrorists. You think there isn't a FEMA prison being set up for parents and patriots? Oh, yeah, they are, folks. Are you prepared? Are you paying attention? Are you ready for what's coming next? It's not good. If they're beating prisoners in Washington, D.C. jail, prison, how bad do you think the beatings will be in off-grid FEMA-Camp, re-education camp, deprogramming camp? Right? What do you think they would do to me if they got me? You think they wouldn't relish the idea of beating half to death or all the way to death a 6'6" Marine? You think they wouldn't love to take me down and beat the shit out of me, waterboard me, electrocute me? It's therapy. It's shock therapy. This is all being administered under the the strict control of a sick, demented psychologist or psychiatrist, a government-paid psychiatrist. I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. Doom himself wouldn't want to show up at these camps and offer some of his medical advice, maybe conduct a few of his medical experiments. Joseph Mengele, let's see, when did he die and when was Dr. Doom born? Wonder if there is a little bit of reincarnation. You know, his shortness, highness himself, could be in the right age group for, I don't know, maybe a Hitler youth medical experiment. He certainly has the mentality, the ability to lie right to everyone's face and believe it. In other words, sociopath by many people's standards. Now, this is just sharing ideas with you folks. What do you think? What do you think? The FEMA-Camp beta test is being run right now. And we're all sitting back going, I can't believe this is happening. The next thought should be, is what am I going to do about it when it comes to the next level? It's going to start, folks, at some point. We could have a false flag, a black swan, whatever you want to call it, an emergency, an event, something happens, and the government says, well, we've got to take action now. Obviously, those parents and patriots are the bad people. They're to blame for the fact that Antifa has gone on rioting again. Oh, Antifa's rioting, let's start arresting parents. Antifa's rioting, let's start arresting patriots. Antifa's rioting, let's start arresting veterans. Because that's the solution. Look what happened back, folks. Look what was happening politically prior to January 6th, on January 6th. And who gets arrested? Patriots get arrested after what was done to this country. It was the politicians, folks, who failed. It was the politicians in DC who sat on their hands, sat on their thumbs, thumb fully extended. They just sat on them and did nothing. Every last one of them just sat there looking stupid, and patriots get arrested for carrying flags and signs into the Capitol building when they were invited inside. When they were invited inside, they're arrested. Right, so I guess exercising your First Amendment is a terrorist activity, according to the government. It has just begun, folks. Get prepared. Go to thepreparedmind.club and get what you need. It's there for you. It's your store, folks. Just like this is your channel for getting information, opinion, ideas, etc., so that you can think for yourself. I don't tell you what conclusions to draw. I may share mine. I may share the conclusions others have told me. But all in all, right, this is your channel to help you consider the options, the ideas, what's going on. Is the government your friend? Have they been doing things that have made your life better? Do you feel safer? Right, that's your set of questions to answer. I know how I think. Get prepared, folks. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours, and aren't you glad you're a prepper? Semper Fi, Godspeed. God help us all.